Welcome to another edition of Inside the Jump Off Plus today. Here once again, guest analyst Keil back in the studio with us for the second straight week. Thanks for being a part of the show again, Keil.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. First topic today is we break down the conference tournaments that are coming up this weekend and even next weekend as we get ready for the NCAA tournament selections. Keil, who do you have? We'll start first in the SEC and work backwards.
In the SEC, I'm definitely going to take Auburn. I just feel like their athleticism and putting players like Whitney Bonner on the court and Dwana Bonner. Auburn is definitely, I think they're going to take it home in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I'd agree. The experience, Coach Nelford has done a great job. Ali Small, the shooter. I've got Auburn as well. Keil, looking at the Pac-10, what do you have, man?
The Pac-10, I'm going to go with Stanford. I just think that their leadership, they're on the floor, and some of the experience, I think in the frame of a conference tournament, they should be in good shape.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that, obviously them and Keil have been great this year, but they're reporting that the injury to Gray Lawson that happened this weekend, right now it just looks like a sprain or a strain, but anytime somebody goes down like that, you have to wonder how long it's going to affect them, even through the conference tournaments over the next couple of weeks. So my pick Stanford as well. Moving on to the Big East, Keil, what do you have for us?
I think that's a pretty easy one. It's hard to say UConn's going to lose in that tournament. Obviously you got Louisville, Rutgers, Notre Dame played them tough, but I'm not picking against them.
You got to be a little nervous though, Keil. They've only won by 10 in the last two televised games versus Notre Dame and Rutgers, man.
They might be getting bored.
Great job right there. We're moving on. Big 12, what do you have, man?
I'm gonna go with Oklahoma. I don't think there's anybody in that conference that's gonna be able to beat them. Obviously, that's a great conference with teams like Baylor and Oklahoma State and what have you, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Gotcha. And despite the injury down there on the block that it looks like they've got down in Baylor, I'm actually going to go in a different direction. I'm going to go with Baylor over Oklahoma. They've been playing so well down the stretch that we're going to stick with them. Had a chance, like I said, to work out with some of those kids this summer at Elite Camp, watch them play a little bit. So I'm going to go with them. They've been playing great lately, and as well as Oklahoma's played, there's got to be an upset somewhere. So that's where the upset is. Moving on, Big Ten, what do you have?
In the Big Ten, I got to pick my girl. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I just feel like their point guard play, I'm going to go with them. The point guard play is important there.
You've always been a Sammy fan. I like Sammy, too. I like Lavender on the block. For as good as some of the other teams in that league have been this year, Purdue, and watched Iowa on TV the other day versus Illinois at home. They've been great, senior-laden, good production. I just think Ohio State's too good to pass up as well. ACC, this is the tough one right here. This conference is loaded at the top. What do you have?
In the ACC, I'm tempted to take FSU. They've played well this year. Critics have tried to knock them for their schedule, but I feel like you play against the team the teams that you face on, the teams that are scheduled for you to play against, and they've beaten most of the teams that they played against. They didn't beat Maryland, and I feel like a team like that that's had such a great year with that type of senior leadership is going to revel. If they get a chance to play FSU in the semifinal bracket, the bottom half of that bracket, I feel like they're going to revel, and they're going to be there, and it's going to be tough for Maryland to get past them.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to take Maryland on this end. I just feel like, last week we picked Marissa Coleman as the Conference Player of the Year, and Tyler was right there in the running, 2 out of the top 3. That's just too much. As good as FSU has been with Fresh Hour, Davis, Kane, Duke and UNC have been very good. Had a chance to watch them on TV yesterday. Jasmine Thomas came up big for Duke, and they've really been a sum of all parts team with Wayne struggling a little bit. Just feel like Maryland right now is probably the most consistent team, at the top in terms of scoring night in and night out with Coleman and Tolliver out of the 4 teams right there in that mix. I'm going to go with them. Moving on, looking at your potential number 1 seeds coming out of the conference tournaments, who do you have for us?
My number 1 seeds, I went with Maryland, UConn, I went with FSU, and I went with Oklahoma. I feel like, obviously everybody's talking about FSU's schedule, and I was tempted to put Duke in there, but I feel like the ACC is without a doubt the best conference in America right now from top to bottom. You're going to hear people make arguments for the Big 12 and other conferences, but I feel like in the ACC, some of the teams in the middle of the pack in the Big 12 will be at the bottom of the pack. And so I went with the ACC, so I figured they need to have 2 teams in there. And it was tough between Duke and FSU, but I don't think you can knock a team for beating the teams that were put on their schedule. So I'm going to go with FSU as the number 1.
Gotcha. Sounds good. I'm flipping a little bit. I feel like obviously UConn with their body of work undefeated. belongs there. Stanford from the Pac-10, feel like they're going to get in. You always have a West Coast representative usually, and they've been the best team out there on that left coast all year long. Maryland, I think, will represent the ACC. I think you're right. The ACC has been too good of a league not to have somebody in, but I think Maryland's going to win the conference title, and because they're going to win the conference title, I have a chance to be a number 1 seed. And then my last one's going to go to Auburn. I think Auburn, once again, kind of like you talked about with Florida State, they've beaten the people that have been on their schedule. They've done a great job, led by DeWanna Bonner and some great senior leadership, and had a great turnout all year. I think that's going to leave Oklahoma on the outside looking in. I'm sure Coach Cole's not going to like that too much, but those are my picks for the 4 number 1 seeds. We'll see. We'll come back right after Selection Sunday here in a couple of weeks with an episode that focuses in on who we'll think will make the Final Four, where some of the upsets will be as you get ready to fill in your bracket. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to the JumpOffPlus.com Today Show. Thanks to Keil and Anthony Moore for being in the studio, and we'll see you next time. As always, any gym is home.